So thank you all for being here. I'll just tell you what we're going to do today and we'll get started. So this could last anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. I don't know exactly how long it will be. So, anytime if you need to leave, you can just, feel free to leave the meeting. And this is being recorded, so I'll send you the recording. You can watch it at your convenience anytime. So what we'll do today is first we'll start out by sharing what happened in the first week of keeping a sketchbook, failures, successes, what worked, what didn't work, what was inspiring, what was uninspiring. And maybe we can give each other some ideas, insights that can help us, for the coming week with our sketchbooks. Then I'm going to give you a sketchbook challenge and provide you with some ideas of things to try should you be up for the challenge. And then at the end, we'll take about 20 minutes and we're going to do a drawing exercise together. Okay, and that's the whole class. So in the chat, for anybody who would like to leave a donation, I will just put a link to that. Please do not feel obligated. This is just, should you be moved or inspired or able to leave a donation, but this is really free and for everyone. And thank you so much to everyone who has donated. I really, really am grateful and appreciate it. Okay, so why don't we start with what happened this past week? So I'm happy to start off the conversation and share with you what happened in my first week of keeping a sketchbook. So in theory, I keep a sketchbook all the time, but in practice, I really, sort of fill up random pages and of all kinds of sketchbooks of all different sizes, shapes, and kinds of paper. I also draw on loose sheets of paper that I never managed to find again. And so it's nice to keep a sketchbook in theory and have it all in one place. So my idea was I'm kind of looking for new ideas for paintings. And I thought, oh, I'll keep a sketchbook looking for new ideas. But what happened in reality is I just drew whatever I felt like. So sometimes I had some free time and I drew something. I signed up for an online model session and I drew that. That was like so much fun. I drew my dog when he was sleeping and I found out he moves a lot, even when he's sleeping. I ended up sketching in 3 different notebooks and didn't keep it all in the same place. So as you can see, like even the best plan goes awry, which I think is only, to be expected with any kind of artist. I don't know any artist that ever like made a plan and really stuck to it. So I guess what I decided now is for the next week coming up, I will just keep drawing anything that I'm inspired to draw. And also I thought about, I would really like to just doodle more. So, sort of like stream of consciousness drawing without words. And it's a nice way to sort of free up your mind. And also it allows sort of new ideas to come in. So I've been trained classically, so I spend a lot of time drawing and painting based on observation. And sometimes I feel like it's sort of it's a great skill and a very important skill to have, but sometimes I think it would be nice to let my mind wander a little more. So does anybody else have something to share about what happened this last week while keeping your sketchbook?
It's Donna, and I'll start. I stuck to the homemade sketchbook and discovered I need a firmer surface than the cardboard. My lines are always wonky, but they got really wonky. And I discovered that I don't have the right pencil. I'm just using an old, like a mechanical pencil that's like number 2. So everything's pale and wan. So I had these technical challenges that let me not think about the real challenges. I'm working up to them.
Okay, yeah. So maybe using some different tools would be good for you, like different kinds of pencils, or even something with color, or something fat, or something bold.
Yeah, Monday is it's 2 weeks since my second COVID shot. So I actually get to go to the art supply store because there's very little
Great.
in my house. I sort of started over fresh here. So I'm going.
Great. Okay, that's excellent.
Uh,
Anyone else
Ellie,
want to share?
Diane?
Yeah.
Tend to get out my sketchbook and sit at night in front of the television when TV is playing and my mind is at rest, and sketch whatever is there. It gives me the opportunity to have to sketch quickly because things on television are moving all the time. And I
Yeah.
end up doing something like maybe a lamp or a doorway, or somebody moving, just the motion, not trying to get a good facial thing. And anything else in that room that happens to catch my attention. So I have lots of useless things in here, but it keeps me practicing on perspective and trying to get shading correct.
That's excellent. That's a great idea. You're like, that's the ultimate multitasking.
Or bored on one or the other, you know?
Yeah. Or keeping yourself from being bored.
Exactly. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'll go next. I love faces. So I started drawing a face and it came out beautiful. But then I thought, no, I want to improve my architecture and perspective. So I started doing architecture and perspective, and I have a long ways to go. I need a lot of practice on my perspective. So I'm keeping, I have a book, a sketchbook I'm keeping. So
Great.
maybe I'll see hopefully I'll see some progress.
That's excellent. And good for you for starting on something that you want to learn. You have to just start. That's excellent, Sharon. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, I'll share.
Great.
So I decided to do my sketchbook in pen because I'm more of a perfectionist, and I felt like maybe it would help me not to be so perfect and just commit. And so that was really helpful for me. And then also I found myself all day long looking for things that I wanted to sketch. And it helped me to just really appreciate things more, like see things differently. So for instance, I was getting a bunch of dried black beans for a dinner, and I was looking at the black beans as if I were to draw them. And I just noticed how differently shaped they were and whether they were matte or shiny. And anyway, I just found that I gained so much more doing my sketchbook, and it just helped me to appreciate creation so much more.
Wow, that's beautiful. Amazing.
Super good idea.
So did you draw black beans?
Not yet.
That could be, yes, very tedious. That's like a Zen exercise. That's really beautiful. So you also sort of really honed your observational skills, even just looking at the world like, what should I sketch? Amazing. Okay, anyone else want to share?
Good morning, this is Patty. And
hi, Patty.
I started the first day by doodling, and I did a sketch of a coffee cup, just not, looking at it, not looking at my paper. And then I drew with my non-dominant hand. That was a long morning, and I also doodled. But the rest of the week, I drew my hand. And I learned every day that I drew it, I saw more and more. So I'm going to continue that and
beautiful.
Keep trying. So
yes, that's really nice. So you learned, you're learning a lot about what your hand actually looks like.
Yes, yes. And I subscribed to artists and illustrators. When I was in Italy, I saw the magazine and I had been taking it. And this month, I just now received January's. Jack Spicer had an article on drawing, and part of it was drawing your hand. So I thought, well, that's appropriate.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's an amazing coincidence.
It was. And if you all have not seen that magazine, it is wonderful every month. It has to be if I subscribe from here in Texas.
I subscribe to it here in Florence.
It's just beautiful.
Artists,
Great.
it's called
Thank
Artists and
you.
Illustrators.
Artists and illustrators, yes.
Great. Who
Check it
else
out.
wants to share?
I just say I went through, did very, very little actual sketching, just maybe 5 or 6 pages of various things. But I discovered I got out some old ones, which are all basically the same thing, spiral and a little bit smaller often. And it seems that I have been repeating myself now for many, many years because the cycle, it's what I happen to have around. And I go in, you do something because maybe I'm trying to think of what I want to paint next. And I have this awful habit of having to have a subject that I continue with until I have exhausted all possible interest in that subject. I can't switch around from one thing to another. And I'm doing the same stupid thing in my sketchbook. I'd like to break the pattern.
Yeah, this is a really good point, right? We kind of do what is familiar, what we know how to do, or what we're comfortable doing. So yeah, this week we'll focus on sort of getting outside of that. That's perfect. That's really perfect.
Give it a.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anyone else want to share?
I found it quite unsatisfying to sketch just with pencil. So I tried to overcome that by getting out colored pens, but that was still not enough. So the only thing really I accomplished this week is I did use my very best watercolors, which had been sitting on a shelf for a long time. So that was nice, but I find that I really just need to add color. And I was using a sketchbook, which of course is disaster for watercolors.
Yes.
And gets all lumpy, bumpy. So I guess that was my journey. I just have to have color. I can't just sketch with a pencil.
That's great. No, Marcia, that's an excellent point, right? Like you just noticed that it's not interesting to you unless it has color. Right. So why try to do something else? Okay, that's beautiful.
Marcia Moleskine makes a good sketchbook with watercolor paper that doesn't buckle too badly.
Yes, and I generally make it at home because I do know how to bind books, but I thought, well, I've got the sketchbook. But, yes.
Great. Okay. Does anyone else want to share what you discovered this week?
I tried. I mean, I did some sketches, but just I was with my child and I brought her here and there in the countryside. And so I was waiting for her. And while I was waiting, I kept sketching. But I didn't do people. I just did trees and monument. You know, wherever I was, I drew something. I tried.
Great.
And I love trees. Actually, I really like that. And then the perspective, you know, the length. I don't know, and I love how do you say nuvole, clouds. Very difficult to draw clouds. Very difficult, but I love them. And also the perspective, you know, when something is close and something is far away, that's really like it's hard for me. It's hard to draw something in the front. I don't know, just veramente. That's it.
Yeah,
it is strong.
that's great. First, it's great that you drew something that you love to draw, like trees. It's also great that you just took the opportunity to, draw whatever is around you, because that's
Exactly.
the opportunity that you had, right? So I think that's a great start. And then, yes, clouds also have perspective, right? They're challenging and they're so beautiful, right? The sense of their floating in air and learning to draw things closer versus far away, right? So one thing you can ask yourself is, how do I know that something is closer and something is far away? How can I, what do I see in the things that are closer that I can't see far away? Right, this kind of
For
thing.
example, there was a landscape and it was, of course, trees, many trees and a house, and it was behind. And then there was this huge tree in front. So I decided to start drawing behind. And then the drawing was full. So the thing in the front, didn't have enough room, not room, but just space, important, because it was too much drawn in the back. So that's why, I need to understand how.
That's very good. It's really, right? It's like a lot of observation and understanding went into your week of sketching, it seems. Leonardo da Vinci, in his notebooks, he was sort of the father of aerial perspective. But you can see in some of his drawings how he treated things that were closer, where you could see more detail, and then the kind of marks he used for things that are far away, where we can't really see all the details clearly. He used different kinds of marks to show things that are clear and things that are a little bit fuzzy or unclear. You could look at some of his landscape drawings. Okay, thank you, Francesca. Okay, anyone else?
Okay, I'll go.
Great.
So, I have been, my practice is to make pencil drawings and then to ink them. And it's pretty hard to do that when you have a notebook, a sketchbook that you're filling up. And so what I tried to do was experiment with a lot of different tools. I thought about you saying, just take a pen or take a, whatever. I had 12 tools. And I learned a lot about which one allows the line to flow and makes a line and just marks that I was excited about. And so that was a really good learning. And the other thing I did is I came back in and, I discovered, I live on a farm and I have this old farm equipment, like a bush hog and like an old tractor, and they are so much fun to draw. I had so much fun. And I also, really did a lot of non-dominant hand drawings because I found that with my dominant hand, I was just being too picky and too careful and too structured. And so there's a kind of fluidity and flow to my non-dominant hand. They're so much more playful. So Joanne, thank you for that reminder from last week. Because it doesn't matter, for me to like have something that's like, don't take it so seriously, don't have it be so precious, is such a good permission for me. So I have really appreciated this exercise.
Beautiful, really excellent. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's a really good reminder of, you never have to show this to anyone. So you can really just mess it up, let it rip, like try anything. And you never have to show it to anyone if you don't want to. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of meetings last week at school, and online meetings, of course, which I find very boring. because I have to sit 2 hours, 3 hours just listening to my colleagues talking and talking about nothing. So I doodled all the time, and I have already drawn, I don't know, maybe half of my little sketchbook. That's exactly what you said. If we are, if we know that we don't have to show anybody, we're free to do whatever we like, and in the end it's beautiful. If we think that we have to draw something beautiful, a painting, a picture or something like that, we're sort of blocked, and so we leave it. But just thinking that nobody is going to see it, it's beautiful, and I'm keeping it, and I am almost finished it. So I need another.
Amazing. Yes, you will have to start a new one. That's so wonderful. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That is excellent. Okay. Did anyone else have that experience of like I see, okay, let's go into the chat because there are some comments here saying relatable description of meetings. Yes, I totally get it. Okay. Marcia also said, I felt very distracted. I decided to just try different pencils on one day, using them to make lines, circles, etc. I didn't know what to sketch, but I had time and tried to draw what was in front of me, like the cat, who always moves a lot. I found the most satisfying was blind contour. I used the same spot in the evening and forcing myself at times. Yeah, so did anyone else have the experience of like just forcing yourself to sit and draw, like it really wasn't easy or fun?
It wasn't always easy till once I got going. And then I was like, okay, you're on a roll. And then I couldn't stop for a while. So it was making myself start something. Maybe I thought I'd fail at it, or it was going to be bad or something.
Yeah, so just starting makes a difference. Great. Well, and it sounds like Marcia really was able to find, a way to make it work for her, right? Like she didn't give up, and she found something that worked for her. Okay, so does anybody want to show any of their sketches? I know it's all about, right? You don't have to, it's private. So if anybody wants to, I'm sure the group would love to see sketches.
I'll show them, Kelly.
Great. Thanks, Susan.
Okay, so I only did 3, but hey.
Oh, beautiful. Yes.
One of my many knitting baskets, and it was sitting in front of me. And this is a vase of flowers with some watercolor.
Wow, nice.
And then this is a colored pencil botanical that's not done.
Wow, those are gorgeous. Really nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, it looks like
I'd
you
like
really
to do a bunch of
enjoyed that.
botanicals right now as things are starting to bloom. I did a lot when I was in North Carolina, and I'd like to do more of those.
Yeah, spring is inspiring for sure. Okay, does anyone else want to show any of their sketchbook?
I'll do it. I had to.
Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah, I had to sit through teacher meetings too. And where I am, we go in person, but we all wear masks. And so I'm an elementary art teacher. And so often the meetings don't really apply to what I do. So these are just, I'll just show this. I did a 1-line drawing of a teacher with her computer with a mask on. And then this fellow had taken his off so he could eat. And anyway, I was actually doodling on separate papers, and then realized, wait, I've got to do my sketchbook. So I grabbed it, started doing it anyway.
Great. Yes, it sounds like drawing in meetings is an excellent relief of stress, yeah, or boredom. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Okay, I'll show you some of my sketchbook. since what did I draw? I have this like gorgeous sketchbook that somebody gave me as a gift.
I have one that somebody gave me exactly like that. I can't
love
you can hear me or
this
not.
sketchbook. It's so beautiful. So I thought, oh, this is something that I would like save for the perfect something. So I'm totally going to use it. So I drew my dog, or attempted to draw my dog. And then I think they're like online model session drawing. These are
Those are
like
nice, Kelly.
10-minute, sorry, I didn't hook up my other camera to 10-minute poses with like phrases that the model used to pose to. So some of them are good, some of them are not. So those are those. I also tried taking out a sketchbook while walking my dog. That was a total disaster. My dog was like barking at other people and dogs. He was barking at me. He was like pulling me down so those were like really fast sketches in this little sketchbook. But then like all the pages got ripped apart because my dog was like barking and pulling. So that was, oh yeah. This is my friend sleeping. Then I did this little sketch in crayon, like children's crayons of like from my balcony at night as the sun went down. So those were some of my sketches. And yeah, it was good actually. It's nice to sit and draw every day.
I was pretty consistent. This is Donna, in just sitting in a room and drawing what I saw. So I'll show you the drawings, but I don't know if they'll even show because they're not too clear.
Sure.
Oh wait, where am I?
Oh yeah, this is out your window.
Show?
You can go
Yeah,
out.
I can see the window.
Yeah, out my window. And then, oh, that was really bad. I'm very crooked with pots. Oh, this was just a corner of my room that I liked. Like a chair. It's very pale lines though, I can't see. I have one more I think that's worth sharing. Oh, this was another corner of a room. But again, it says I'm watching TV. So, I mean, I don't have the TV on, but it's there if I want it. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'll share, I guess. So
Great.
I don't know if you can see this at all. So that was the blind contour of my foot. And same thing. So I did the same thing. I'm sitting, it was very bright, sorry. In my family room watching stuff. And this was my cat who then moved. And so I tried her in her next position.
Well, those are nice.
Oh, that's
trying to do it
great.
quickly. And then I was the one distracted. And a friend of mine loves llamas. And I decided I wanted to know cartooning. So I tried to draw a bunch of.
Oh, yes.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
Can I?
Really nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else want to share before we?
Yeah, I show mine. This
Great.
is,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Wonderful.
That's nice.
yeah, I put some doodles, just doodles, because you
Very
know
good
when you've
doodles.
got meetings, you cannot keep your concentration. But I mean, doodling is okay.
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Those are
then-
beautiful.
During this meeting,
let's see that some more.
yeah, but I have to finish it, and I've got my
That's
pen, everything here, painting.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you. Those are some pretty impressive doodles. Okay.
I'll share.
Great.
I also haven't, oh, there goes my dog. Haven't drawn in a while. Was also just using pencil and doing stuff around
Really
the house.
nice.
Nice.
Yes.
You know, just some still lifey,
Wow.
like breakfast.
Beautiful.
And then I drew my friend on Zoom.
Oh, yes. Nice.
And just, it was really challenging to not use color, like especially, you know, like I don't know, it's like just a shelf of a vignette in my
wonderful.
house.
Yeah.
That's really colorful. So I was just using one pencil, and then I discovered the eraser and then the pencil sharpener, and that's it.
Wow, you did a lot with a pencil and then a sharpener and eraser.
It was challenging, but I haven't drawn in a long time, so I was just trying to kind of focus on just sitting there every day for some period of time and doing it, and it was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you enjoyed it.
Yes, very much.
Okay, that's excellent. Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
That sounds like a good intro for the color person.
Did you want to share, Susan?
No, I was just gonna, mine are really sketchy, just with the same pencil.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Marsha,
oh, I'm sorry.
you?
I am interrupting somebody. I don't know whether I'm on mute
I
or
think,
not.
I wasn't sure if I was either.
go ahead, Marsha. Sorry about
So
that.
the last woman's showing sound like a good introduction to the color addict.
The color addict. Great. Beautiful flowers. Yes, spring is in the air.
You can't go wrong with sunflowers.
That's right. Okay. So let's see, what time is it? Okay, why don't we're just gonna move on. And the next section, I thought we'll talk about a little sketchbook challenge, right? To keep you engaged and challenged for the next week. So I think almost everyone has already talked about this, but what I would challenge you to next week is to one of two things or both things. One is trying different materials that you've never used before, or not really anyway. And two is trying new approaches. So like ways of drawing things that you've never tried before. So I'll give you some ideas, and then maybe other people can chime in with your ideas as well. So some of my ideas for using different materials. So we're all mostly really comfortable using a pencil, but what about trying ballpoint pen? Or I love these, these pens that have like 4 different colors in one. What about trying markers? What about colored pencils or some kind of like water soluble pencils that you sort of color in and then go over with and dissolve with a brush? Another thing is using tea or coffee. Like tea and coffee are a great way to draw, and they're kind of like ink washes, right? Tea obviously is more like sepia, and coffee is also like sepia. It's not really black, but they can make beautiful, beautiful washes, and they can be very delicate. If you brew it really strong, you can get it pretty dark. But that's sort of the nice thing about tea and coffee. It's never like really, really dark. It has a nice, delicate look to it. Another thing is you can try ink. If you've never used ink, with a bamboo pen, a cane pen, or even the sort of dip ink, or with just a brush. And or crayons, like crayons that you used to color with when you were a child, and maybe still use. Like I sketched with crayons this week, and I kind of loved it. It's like the physicality of it can be really, really nice. So any other ideas for trying different materials? Anyone try something that wasn't
Wine.
Wine?
Yeah. Yeah, it's reddish. It's good to paint portraits, for example.
Yes. Okay. So you painted portraits with wine. That's wonderful.
How can
Okay.
you use,
And
how can you use tea, wine, or coffee? How? I mean, you.
So
Please.
you can, yeah, put coffee in a cup, or, you know, and just with a brush, you can dip a brush and paint with it.
Just a normal
Maybe,
brush.
yeah, like any kind of paintbrush. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a nice paintbrush.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Other ideas? Okay. Go ahead. Yes.
No, I don't know whether I'm recording or not. I haven't figured this whole thing out. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
No. Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, I like using the wax crayons, whatever they, and watercolor kind of, where you've got the combination. You can be color on color or mixed or whatever you want, but you know, to have the wax, it doesn't disappear with the water, and then you can have this soft watercolor effect combined in whatever color combinations you feel like throwing together. And
great. So watercolor and crayons together, like mixing two.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I
together.
usually start out with the crayons, but there's no reason why you should do it that way. You could just, you know, keep adding and one with after the other, and then starting over with it. So I don't know, it gets sort of interesting, funny results sometimes, but
yeah.
and
Okay,
color
yeah,
on
so that's a
color,
good
if you
idea,
have-
like mixing two mediums together. Also,
yeah, and with the
charcoal
color, with
and
the
ink
crayon,
can
you know,
be
you can
really
use
nice.
exactly the same color that you then have for the wash, if you want, or
Right.
anything goes, actually.
Yes, and Marcia says charcoal sticks or blocks of charcoal. Charcoal is a beautiful medium. She also said finger paints. Why not? Zoe says I painted with acrylic paint only, no other colors, on black paper, which is kind of mind-bending and fun. That's a great idea. Using black paper and coloring or drawing with like a white chalk or painting on top, right?
Yeah,
We're
good.
so used to white that we probably have no idea what happens when we use black, a black
That's
background.
a very good idea.
That's a
I
great
like that.
idea. Okay.
Watercolor graffiti.
Yes.
I've never tried it. I've got it, but I've never tried. So I'm gonna use it next week.
Excellent. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so now I want to give you some ideas for different approaches, and I'm sure everyone here could chime in. Oh wait, Donna says, I want to underpaint a canvas and draw, sorry, I missed it, and draw in white paint. Yes, you can get black gesso, right? And then paint on top of it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Black gesso.
Okay, so what I would challenge you to do this week is every day draw in a way that you're either not comfortable with or have never tried before, right? So that you can discover something new. Now, you don't have to do it again, but you might want, you know, who knows what you will discover. So something that a lot of people have mentioned is drawing with your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, drawing with your left hand, or if you're left-handed, drawing with your right hand. Now, something I would add is drawing with both hands simultaneously. This is a really, really great exercise and so much fun. So you could pick a single object and draw it, the same object at the same time with both hands. Another thing you can try is to copy a drawing or a painting by an artist that you love. Now, it doesn't have to be a master, right? An old master. It could be somebody that's alive and you love their work. But think about Van Gogh's drawings. The way that he uses mark making, right? If you copied one of his drawings, you would learn a lot about how to use different marks to describe texture, movement, light, all of these kinds of things. Another idea is learn to draw one of the features on the face. Learn to draw a nose, learn to draw an eye, learn to draw an ear, right? By looking in the mirror and studying your own very, very closely. Like the person who, Patty, drew her hand every day, right? So you could pick something and learn to draw it. You could, for a week, only draw the spaces in between objects. So this is negative space. This is an amazing exercise for teaching yourself to really see more clearly. So what I mean is, like, if I have two objects, instead of drawing the individual objects, I would draw the space that's in between them. You could go to an online model drawing session, even if you've never drawn a figure in your life, right? You don't have to show anyone, right? These blind contour drawings are amazing. They really, really teach you your eye and your hand to work together and to slow down. Let's see. You could paint or draw an image from your dreams. This I love. It's a really, really great exercise. And sort of alongside that is you could paint or draw something from memory, a moment in time, a place that you love, or, even something that you've drawn before. You could try and draw it from memory without looking. Okay, so these are some of my ideas about do something new, right? Do something that you don't feel comfortable doing. Let's try something that we don't know how to do, right? So this is where all of the sort of good stuff lives, is where we don't know the outcome, like where it's not predictable. These are sort of the ways in which we can make new discoveries of how to work, of being inspired, of actually just being curious about the world, and also to sort of give up judging and criticizing ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so any ideas to add to that? Excuse me.
Kelly,
Okay.
I've got one.
Yeah, sure, Connie. Great.
I'm taking my students' art and I'm creating my own art from their ideas.
Wow.
It's really a fun exercise because they all draw so differently and their ideas are so different. But
that's really inspiring. That's beautiful.
Can I show you one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me grab it. So here's the child's drawing.
It's like a mandala. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's my response to it.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I want to keep the essence of their drawing and respect their art, but then take it and kind of make it mine in a way. So anyway, there's another idea.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And this also makes me think of, right, drawing. You could draw a response to a poem, to something you read, to a story you heard, to a piece of music, right? That's really nice, right? Like music especially inspires like colors, I think, in a lot of people. Okay, in the chat, Whitney says that I just kind of made a rule this week that I wasn't going to erase or start over. I was just going to push through, and it was fun. And I actually like everything I did, even when I didn't at first. Wow, that's amazing, right? So I think the important thing is setting some kind of framework for yourself to work inside of. It's like, making it sort of straightforward, and you're just gonna do this and sort of only do that. That's excellent. That's good. Kim asks, where do you find online model sessions? I can, I'll send out an email. There are lots of them in Europe, also in the UK. There's the London Drawing Circle. There's a Scottish online. I'll put some on Facebook and send an email with some online drawing sessions. Great. Highly recommended. Really fun. There are some really, really fun ones. Okay, so does anybody at this point want to make any comments, ask any questions, just share anything from your sketchbook? Because what we'll do is we'll, after this, take a break and come back together and draw together for the last 20 or so minutes of our time together.
Okay.
Kelly, I have just a question. We're pretty opened up here in Florida. And so I brought a little like pocket-sized sketchbook with me, and I'm sitting at a table by myself. And I find I get annoyed with people who are trying to interrupt what oh, you're sketching, can I see it? It's like, no, go away. So part of mine is like, I just want the time for myself, but I'm in a public place because I can draw people in movement, just kind of play around. But I find I'm becoming so used to not being in public that I like it. I like being by myself. So any guidance, like if you really just want that moment to yourself, you don't want to be a spectacle by drawing, you don't want it to be interesting to anyone, I guess.
Yeah, so one thing is you could maybe I mean, I paint primarily outdoors, so in a tourist city, so I completely understand. You could put out a donation cup that says like donation.
That'll discourage everybody.
That's very funny.
Right, so like unless they want to give you money, they're not going to approach you. But another thing a lot of artists do is they wear like big headphones, like even if you're not actually listening to music. So then it's like, I can't hear you. Another thing that I can do is think about going out with someone else, right? Go out sketching with someone else. So people are sort of maybe less likely to interrupt you if you're in a group.
That's not true. we
Yeah.
go to the parks with Giovanni and paint, and every day they start asking, what are you doing? Are you a class?
Yes. Yes.
I want to.
And I mean, really the thing you can say is just, oh, thank you, be polite, like, thanks for your interest, but actually I want to, I'm concentrating and I just don't want to be interrupted. It's not, an easy thing to say, but I think most people respect it. Try the donation.
Can I give you a different,
good one?
May I make a different take on that? I was sitting in the British Museum one day, as far back in the corner as I could get. And this little boy came over and he looked over my shoulder and said, what are you doing? And then he told me that my drawing was good. And I asked him what he liked to draw, and he told me what he liked to draw. And we talked a little bit about it, and it was lovely, even though I didn't want to be interrupted either, but it was a great memory. So you never know.
I love that memory. I have one kind of like it. I was in Italy trying to paint in a garden, and this 4 or 5 little kids came over. I had very little Italian language. So one of them would ask me a question. I tried to answer, and then I could understand what he said to his friends. He said, well, she talks like a baby, but she knows how to paint.
That's nice. Yeah, usually I just talk for a few minutes and then, say, okay, well, I'm going to get back to work. Yeah. But it's not easy. But I mean, I think in the end, people really are curious and admire, right? Artists.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm quite a beginner, but many times when I was painting in outdoors, people stopped me and wanted to buy my horrible paintings.
Well, maybe they're not as horrible as you think.
Well, they are. May I share my sketchbook?
Absolutely.
I
Yes,
made
we
a
would
brand new
love that.
one. Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. And, you know, I decided it's watercolor paper. And
Yeah.
I decided this week I couldn't go out because we are, you know, locked down. So I decided to paint the pine trees that I can see from my house here in Rome. And so this is a stamp that my daughter gave me as a present some time ago with our pine trees. You see, can you see it? And so I decided to start painting these pine trees that I can see in the window. And I made many attempts. Can you see them?
Yeah.
This is across the curtain. And this
Beautiful.
is,
Yeah.
and so I want to share with you my pine trees.
Very nice. Yeah.
This is the original.
Yeah, to see the actual trees from the window.
Where are you?
Okay, can you see them? Oh no, you can't.
Yes, now we can. Higher. You have a ping pong table. Very nice.
Right.
There they are.
Yes, I have a wonderful terrace. So
No kidding.
one day, Kelly, you will come over. Here they are.
Yes.
Can you see them?
Oh.
Yes.
So
the pines of Rome.
one day they will come out the way I want them to be. Although I don't know yet how I want them to be.
Yeah. Beautiful. Your terrace is really nice, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, so you're all invited for a sketch crawl here.
Thank you, Sandra.
As soon as we can gather.
Okay, thank you. So why don't we just take 5-minute break and we'll come back together and we'll draw together. You know, obviously if you paint, you'll paint. And then that will be the end for the day. So I was looking. Okay. So we'll come back in 5 minutes and make sure you have something to draw or paint with, more than one page. Okay. That's all you need to know. Okay, Connie needs to leave. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're gonna do a series of drawings and they're going to be timed. And that's so you don't have too much time to think about it. So what you'll need, I'm just gonna mute everyone. So what you'll need, let me, 1 second, is something to draw with. You might want to, if you normally draw in pencil, you might want to just draw in pen. If you normally draw in pen, draw in pencil. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make the same drawing several times over, but we're going to start with more time and make it progressively quicker. And then we'll end drawing by memory. So the purpose of this is to sort of override thinking too much. And it also has you, in the end, you'll notice what's important and what's not important. So like what to include and what to leave out. Now you can make line drawings. You can paint directly without drawing first. You can use a marker and shade. You can draw any way that you want to draw. Now, what I recommend is just look somewhere around you where you are and pick, like looking out the window, looking into a room, looking at all the stuff on your table. But pick something that it's not just a single object, right? We want it to be more of like a scene that you're looking at. So we're going to make several drawings. First, I'm going to time all of them. So first we'll have 5 minutes and you want to fill up the page as much as you can. So no teeny tiny drawings, right? Like half a sheet, you can use half a sheet if you like. I have a really big sketchbook, so I could use half a sheet if I wanted to. So what we're gonna do is each time we're gonna make a new drawing of the same thing. First, we'll make a drawing that's 5 minutes. Then we'll start again, and we'll make a sketch that's 3 minutes. Then we'll start again, make it 1 minute, and then we'll put all of those away and draw from memory. So Betha says she just connected now. So yeah, what we're gonna do is make a series of timed drawings. So Betha, you just need several pieces of paper and something to draw with. Or if you want to paint, you can just paint as well. It doesn't matter. Crayons, markers, pen, pencil, anything is fine. Okay, so I'm gonna set the timer. So look around you and just sort of pick a place to focus on. And get in as much information as you can, but think about the overall big area first, and then maybe go into the details, right? But you can approach it any way that you like. Okay, so if everyone is ready, even if you're not, we're going to start now, and we have 5 minutes. Okay, just 1 minute left. Okay, and stop. Okay, now get a new piece of paper or a fresh, like half of your paper, whichever one. Now we're going to draw the same thing again, but you only have 3 minutes. So just try to capture the main idea, what you think the essential information is in the scene that you're drawing. Okay, ready and start.
Ciao Kelly.
Ciao, stiamo disegnando.
Io ho appena finito la seduta con Mariangela.
Ah, ok, stiamo quasi per finire anche noi.
No, io riprendo fra poco più di mezz'ora. La domenica fa 2 sedute di 2 ore l'una.
Ah, bello questo, molto.
Siete tanti.
Okay, just 30 seconds. Okay, and stop. Okay, now we're gonna do it again. This time we have 1 minute. So keep in mind, what's the main idea, right? You obviously can't fit everything in your drawing in 1 minute, but you've been studying it now for 8 minutes to be exact. So see what you can manage to draw in just 1 minute. Okay. Ready and go. Okay, and stop. Okay, so before we do our next drawing, I just like to hear, like, take a second and step back and look at your 3 drawings. Okay, and notice, like, just look at them and, you know, sort of step back and look objectively. What's the difference between the 1 minute, the 3 minute, and the 5 minute? And, you know, did they change? Did they stay the same? Do you think you captured just as much important information in the 1 minute as you did in the 5 minute? Does anybody want to share sort of their observations in doing this exercise so far?
Sure, I will.
Okay, great.
Actually, of the 3, I think my 3 minutes the best. The 5 minutes I tried for too much detail in a short time. The 1 minute is just an idea. I mean, you know, it's 1 minute. So it's, I mean, I can see what it is and have some idea. Some of the things are fairly obvious, some are not. But the 3 minute, I got the essence and realizing I would have to leave out some detail to get the deal. I think that was the one that I fussed with the least, but I got it down.
Great. Interesting. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Okay, anybody else want to share, you know, your
Hi, Kelly.
experience or hi.
Hi, I thought that the first one was too long. You know, it felt
Great.
like I had to keep putting things, and the last one, as she said, was just sort of the outlines, but the second one is the better of the 3.
Okay, so 3 minutes felt like the right amount of time to get the essentials
Funny, yeah,
done.
yeah, I didn't expect that.
Okay, interesting. Great.
I often go back and put too many details in, and I'm trying to teach myself to take more out. So this is a good practice. I'm going to do this more often.
Yes, timed drawing is a great way to really just get what's essential, right? And not belabor the fact. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna do something maybe new. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same drawing. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes, but this time do it from memory. Obviously, the thing that you've been looking at is right there in front of you, but try not to look at any of your previous drawings, and don't look at, you know, the thing that you've been drawing from. Just draw from what you remember, right? And it doesn't matter, right, if it's exactly how it is there. Just draw what you remember. Okay, and we'll do this for 3 minutes. Okay, ready and start. Okay, and time is up. Okay, so I'm really curious to hear from anyone who would like to share. What was your experience of, the whole thing, but especially drawing from your memory of, whatever it was you're looking at the end?
I'll go. I guess I really liked the 3-minute one in the first pass, but I found in the one from memory, 3 minutes was almost too long. I was done. It felt like a minute earlier than everyone else, but it's more bolder, I guess, than my other sketches. I was more tentative, I think, in doing the first one. And this one, it just felt like it just was, I guess I kind of had the sense of the shape of things, but I don't think I would have gotten there had I not done the other 3 before it, would be my guess. So I just kind of get certain details I didn't think were interesting became the subject, like 3 pieces of paper and a couple weights. It's the paper that became interesting and I became confident in drawing it. So this was fun.
Great. That's an excellent observation too, right? Like what ends up falling out, right? And what do you remember and keep in? Yeah, I too felt like, okay, I'm done. Even though I didn't really add any details or any shading or anything, like, okay, it's all there. But I actually spent more time looking at the drawing, like thinking about it as a drawing and like putting the elements together.
That's exactly. I personally, of all of mine, I like the 1 minute most because it was just the idea, but it was so well centered, much rather than the 3 minutes that I've done in memory, because I was there with my memory inventing things, I was much more inventing things rather than catching the real scene.
Interesting. Yeah. Right. But studying it for all those previous times, like makes an impression, but then you can sort of extract from that and make a drawing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I had this moment of not knowing what medium. So I took out my pen and I said, heck, what I really like about this scene is that the colors repeat themselves. So I opened my sort of semi-dry, partially whatever, acrylic palette and took my glass of water and used it to clean the brush. It's a mess. But so I was forced to try color on this paper. I'm going to show you what happened because the last one is the best. But at the first one, what I like is the colors of the thing. I don't know, does this show?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Down at the bottom, the mug is sitting on what I call my mouse pad. And it's a drawing that one of my grandkids did when they were 3. So I liked it. Yeah. So then when I got to the next one, it was like that. I just botched the colors because I was hurrying. But the last one, although I didn't get to do what I love, is show how my granddaughter's mouse pad inspired me. It was truly, I was just drawing something. So it was both the things your previous students said, and for me, like, oh my gosh, you could just slope some color on that. It was no big deal.
Yeah, but it gives it a simplicity and an elegance, and it's like tied together, right, by these 2 places of color. It's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, would anyone else like to share? Okay, I'll share my drawings. Just I'm not afraid. I was drawing my kitchen, looking from here. So I think this was my. Sorry, let me move this light. 5 minutes. It has this weird, like, slanted door thing. Then 3 minutes. Then 1 minute. Right. Obviously, I'm like really into the framing of it with this doorway. Also, these lines give it like a way in. And that was my 3-minute memory drawing. So I just used a pen and worked in line. I really like memory drawings. I feel like it gives us a way to use what we know and what we've studied, but it also frees you up to make a drawing and not be so, chained to observation, right? So that was my personal experience with this exercise. Memory drawing is really, really, really great. You can use it all the time. Also, if you're maybe frustrated with something or you see something and you don't have time to stop and sketch or paint it, even if you photograph it, try drawing it from memory. It will tell you what about what you saw was important. Because what you remember is actually, what was the important thing about the scene. Okay,
I think like my minute. Oh, sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
think like my minute drawing was actually more from memory than from looking, because I was like, I have a minute, so here's some lines, and there you go. Also really funny. So I'm drawing outside my house. It took me until like the last one to realize that there's a guy waiting for his wife in his car and he's fallen asleep in his car. It's really funny. But it took me that long to realize there's a man in a car. But yeah, I really I feel like the minute one and the one from memory, they felt very similar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because you've at that point been studying it for so long. Okay. Jan said in the chat, I really liked the one from memory best. I felt freer, like I could really make the scene how I wanted it to be. The others, especially the 5-minute one, feel tight and constricted. Okay, so if you felt like this, notice this, right? This is like, don't have to reinvent the wheel. Make sketching fun and easier for yourself. If you liked this exercise or found the quicker drawings more freeing, then try making timed drawings. Like spend 3 minutes in your sketchbook. Or the opposite, if you were like totally stressed out by only having 3 minutes and felt like, I can't handle this, I really need to take my time and be calm about it, then give yourself more time and don't rush. Right? So these are just ways to explore, different ways of approaching and thinking about drawing. So that's really all for today. I will send out an email that with all the different ideas and suggestions that we had talked about, different approaches and different materials. And this will be available as a recording that you can watch anytime. So does anyone, yeah, thank you, Nina. Does anyone have any comments, questions, anything they want to share before we end?
Where is the video?
It's on YouTube, and I've been sending out an email, and I noticed that
I haven't
it's on
got.
YouTube. Yeah, so if you can just Google my name, Kelly Medford, YouTube, and there's a channel with all the recordings there. So it will just be
Okay.
the most recent one. And I'll put it there tonight. Okay, so thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being open and willing to try new things, and for sharing all of your experiences and insights, because they're extremely helpful to others. So thank you all very much for your time and generosity. I appreciate it.